All right, man, what an unbelievable college baseball game, and I thought just really competitive on both sides. I mean, I thought LSU's arms did a great job. Gage jump it's good, man. Like it's a really really good heater. But the second you try to go take the heater away, he's got a really good feel for a breaking ball, a really good feel for a changeup, and just executed pitches in big spot. Same thing, you got a really good cutter coming out of Christian Little, and by the way, he's got 97 in his back pocket. Then Herring there at the end, just we knew what he was doing. Doesn't make it any easier to hit. That's a heck of a breaking ball, and he threw it in the same spot every single time. And per this what the strike zone should be, I don't think it's a strike, but it was consistent, and it's a strike, and that's college baseball. I mean, we're not playing in the big leagues here. That's college baseball, and so he did an unbelievable job of executing, and I thought we were just able to outlast them. We have 2 outs, nobody on there at the last inning, get 2 walks and a hit by pitch, and man, brings up this dude to my right, and it's going to sound corny to say this, but it's what makes college baseball such a beautiful thing. Like, this guy is a Tuscaloosa kid, was kind of deciding whether he was going to come back for another year or not. He graduated, was starting his MBA. All fall, I saw him for about 5 minutes a day at practice. He'd come running in his polo and go do a couple high knees and try to go hit. And hasn't played a ton this year. And then obviously we had the sickness, and he gets an opportunity, and man, is he taking advantage of it. And again, the other thing I want to highlight is a guy like Evan Slight. I mean, Ev has been our everyday right fielder. He's our captain. And when I talked to Ed before the game to tell him, hey, I'm gonna start Hammy today, he was the first one to say, yep, that's what you should do. I was gonna come tell you to do it if you didn't do it anyway. That's the kind of teammate he is. That's the kind of captain he is. That's what makes this group incredibly special. So really happy for our kids, man. That was a fun game. It was an emotional game. It's an emotional weekend. The crowd was great. Heck of a job finishing that thing. It wasn't the hardest hit ball Hamy's ever had, but that's one he won't ever forget. I can promise you that.
Yeah, William, what is it kind of like, obviously a hometown kid, one of your last seasons, what were kind of the emotions of a game like this, especially when you're getting big plate appearances, and then that last one where you reached first on the throwing air and got the 2 game winning runs home?
Well, it means everything to me, like Coach touched on. I'm a hometown kid. I grew up here, so University of Alabama sports, it means everything. So, and being in that moment, I'm just trying to have fun. This is my last year playing baseball, so and one of the things in those moments is we're just trying to pass to the next guy. You're not trying to do too much. So, but that moment, it was awesome, and I'm glad I got to share it with some of these teammates. It was really cool.
Yeah. And Coach, obviously just a wild 2 weeks with, the bad weather last week, the sickness that went through the whole team, and then just like a 2.5 week road trip. So what did it just kind of feel like just to be back at home and play at the Joe again and somehow kind of get back maybe into a little bit of normalcy?
Gosh, I miss Dixieland Delight. I can tell you that. We like that song. It's just always good to get back home. And even this week, these kids have been through a lot the last few days. I mean, even up through this week, we were able to have normal practice times for the most part, but you're still, anybody's had food poisoning knows it's not, oh, I'm done puking, now I'm good. It takes some time to get your energy back. It takes some time to be able to eat again. It takes some time to be able to do some of that. So we still had some lingering effects throughout the week for some guys, but it's just always good to get back home. It gives you the last at bat. In a game like tonight where it was tight and it was back and forth and it was going to be a pitch, a swing, and a bat, a play, it's always good to have that last at bat, and for our first walk-off of the year, I think this group will be pretty fired up for that one.
Coach, you've consistently talked about how a loud home crowd can give you the final push. You had another sellout crowd tonight. How was the crowd? How did you feel that it helped push you to win?
Yeah, it's more for these kids. I love it, right? It's fun for me, but it's for these guys, and I love it because school's out, right? And so a lot of the students are probably back home, and we still had a ton of people there tonight. They were engaged in the game, and all that did is scream to these guys that they're appreciated. And I think that's what's awesome. Like, nobody knows the amount of work that goes into this thing, and not for me, not necessarily for the coaches, but for these players, and I've talked about that a lot this year, and they pour so much of themselves into this sport and into this game and into this university. And you kind of have both, right? You have the hometown guy that's grown up here, and you have a guy that's been here for 8 months, and it doesn't matter. Like, when the fans show up, it just shows them, man, we love you guys, we appreciate you guys, and it's our job to give them something to appreciate. And this team's a heck of a team to rally behind, and fans were outstanding, and man, it makes it a little nerve-wracking when you're trying to rip that slider like Harrigan was at the end, and it starts getting a little raucous and a little rowdy. Makes that thing a little bit tighter and a little bit tighter, and anything like that goes our way, we'll take it.
William, you've mainly been used, sometimes coming in just like throughout the games all season. What have you kind of worked on from the beginning of the season to now to kind of have the success that you've been having?
Well, I think it's just staying positive, and you never know when your moment's going to be. You never know when you're going to get your name called. So, just trying to be ready and rally behind your teammates, because you want that support when you're in there. So, when you try to be that teammate, be that person, those moments they're ready.
TJ, you had the big home run when LSU had tacked on a couple of runs and you were able to stop the bleeding a little bit for your team. How important do you think that was in the late stages of the game?
I think it's just letting us know that we're not out of the game. Cutting the lead in half that late in the game is huge, because you give your pitchers a little bit more confidence on the mound that they're not just throwing some bull innings, and so it was really nice, and it was good to see the crowd get back into it too, like they just touched on earlier. So you started to see a couple fans leaving, but when you cut the lead in half like that late, they started to get back into the game. So that was nice.
Coach, since they won, I guess we can ask you this: what do you think of your bobblehead?
It's absurdly ridiculous. Oh no, the amount of text messages I've got from my college teammates and my people back home, first of all making fun of me for it, and secondly saying like, hey, where can we get one of those? I said, hey, yeah, Alabama, you can go talk to those guys. We can try to figure out a way to do that. But yeah, funny, weird, but it's cool. It's fun. It's fun. Like, it makes me feel uncomfortable. I don't like being in the spotlight. I like it when it's on these guys. And when they approached me with that, I was like, there's about 40 dudes in there that people would way rather have their bobblehead than mine, except for maybe my parents and my son. And they might even probably prefer TJs and LeBrons and Hammies. But yeah, it is fun.
Coach, I know you guys usually take things game by game, but you're riding right now a 3-game winning streak with some really, really big games, obviously the season finale at State and then against Troy. What do you think these wins so far, and hopefully for the rest of the weekend, how do you think that brings kind of momentum into this team for the last half before Hoover, while y'all are still trying to fight for, seeding in the SEC tournament?
Yeah, I talked to these guys after Troy, and that's what I told them. I said, we have 6 games guaranteed left together. Now we have 5, and nothing's done. We're not in the NCAA tournament. Shoot, I don't even think we're in the SEC tournament yet. I don't know. I don't know what else happened around the league tonight. So we have 5 games guaranteed together, and that's what I told them after Troy. At the end of the day, let's just go be present. Let's go be in the moment for 5 straight games. And a win streak's cool, but the coolest thing, I've been a part of some really long ones before. Back at Maryland, we went through a period where we didn't lose in the month of May, and those are fun, but the constant in there is you don't even realize you're on a win streak. You just go out and are playing, and then you look up at the end of the year and you're like, holy cow, how did we just win 15 games in a row? And so much of this sport, so much of this game is playing good baseball at the right time. And man, May and June is when you want to be really, really good. And so that's what we got to do down the stretch. Tomorrow's going to be fun. Tomorrow's going to be an electric atmosphere. Obviously, they've got a heck of a starter going. I think everybody here is very familiar with Luke Holman, obviously, and he's good. But man, it's our job to come out and go get after him tomorrow and just have competitive, tough at bats. And we got Little and Herring out of the bullpen today, which is good. With the fact that they shot those guys, we still found a way to win is huge. So we're just going to come out and play our brand of baseball tomorrow. We're going to play hard. We're going to play competitive. We're going to play aggressive. Win, lose, or draw, and then we'll come back and do it again 4 more times after that.
William, you think that's going to be weird at all, seeing a guy that you were teammates with here be on the mound for the other team tomorrow night?
I mean, maybe a little bit, but he's a good pitcher. I got a lot of respect for him, and he's an awesome guy. So it'll just be cool to be on the same field with him again.
Anything else?
Thanks, guys. Roll Tide.